On the highway to the coast, there is a store that I can't fairly describe it as a thrift store, but it's not really a bookstore anymore either, so I don't know what you'd call it. The place is called Jim's Trading Post, and it's been in business since the 50s. Back when I was coming in the early 80s and we'd stop on the drive to the coast, they had tons of new horror books, and it was my favorite bookstore to buy new stuff. I don't know when they stopped getting new inventory, but it was a long time ago. Nothing changes in the store anymore. It's kind of an odd time capsule, and now they are going out of business and having a clearance sale. So I thought while we were there, I would get some footage of it and share it with you and kind of enjoy a little trip down memory lane. Their inventory absolutely bewilders me. If you need 20 copies of Casseroles for Drinkers in new but very dusty condition, this is the place for you. The story I've heard is that the owner bought a truckload of canvas tennis shoes in the 1970s and has been selling them ever since, and they've been there every time I've been. These new old stock 1970s flowered dresses, I first saw them in the hardware section shortly after my husband and I were married. And in 2014, they'd been moved up into the bookstore where my daughter bought herself one. No iron does not apply to clothing that's been folded up for that many years. They have homeschool curriculum. If you want flashcards about careers and transportation from the mid-60s, they'd be fun to have, but the prices are still kind of crazy high, especially considering how many of some of these things that they have. And while I was filming and looking at things, my sons found a book about how the skunk got his stripes. I had never heard the story. I remember how the leopard got his spots. Apparently the skunk's stench was so horrible that it killed people. So the people decided to heat a really big rock and roll it down the hill onto the skunk and kill him. But it didn't work, and it left him with a stripe of ash. I Googled it when we got home, and I can find a few different versions of the story, but none of them that match up with the book the boys found. This little color and assemble dollhouse is going to haunt me. I maybe should have spent the $5 and bought it, but that's okay. I really wonder what is going to happen to all these books, because so many of them are so old and dusty and musty, and you wouldn't think in demand. The second building here contains hardware, just miles of it. My husband has bought a lot in here over the years. He's bought fittings for the sprinkler system and door latches and I don't know what all else. When we were first married, and that would have been in the early 90s, we got married in 1991. I can't remember exactly when it happened that we came in here. He found a sealed can of factory paint, metallic green, that was the exact color of the 1972 Dodge Charger he was driving at the time. So I have a soft spot for this place, as odd as it is, and I'll be sad to see it gone. I'm Michelle from Michelle's Romantic Tangle, and thanks again for joining me.